Fantasy author George R.R. Martin created the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, the latter of which is often represented by House Targaryen, a surviving dragonlord family with roots in old Valyria, the greatest civilization to ever exist. After the doom of Valyria, from his small outpost on Dragonstone, Aegon Targaryen, alongside his 2 sisters and 3 dragons, conquered all of Westeros, except Dorne. Aegon the Conqueror would become the first Targaryen king of the continent. He was succeeded by 16 more. Knowing George R.R. Martin's love for history, it's safe to say that he was inspired by rulers from our own timeline, mostly from English history. Aegon the Conqueror might be the easiest pick to start with. He shows clear similarities to William the Conqueror, who came from across the sea and conquered England. Great Britain itself resembles Westeros on a map. Moreover, a few hundred years before the Norman invasion, England was divided into 7 smaller kingdoms during the Heptarchy period. Originally, the British Isles were inhabited by the Celts, and after the Romans left, the Anglo-Saxons arrived before William. To compare, Westeros was first inhabited by the First Men, who were mostly defeated by the Andals, who wielded superior weapons. After that, the Conqueror came. On top of that, the fall of a great empire, be it Rome or Valyria, set events into motion. All of this might be very oversimplified, but it still shows where George R.R. Martin likely drew inspiration. But now, back to the kings. Aenys I followed Aegon before Maegor the Cruel came to power. George R.R. Martin has stated that although he often takes inspiration from history, he blends characters together. Maegor the Cruel is a primary example, as he is a mix of countless brutal rulers from history. His nephew, King Jaehaerys, on the other hand, was known for his wise and just reign. He even constructed the famous King's Road. His long, stable rule, alongside the troubles with his children, makes Jaehaerys a mix of Henry II and Edward III. Henry was a superb administrator, while Edward, like Jaehaerys, became king at a young age and had to heal the wounds left by a tyrant. The Dance of the Dragons was a civil war within the Targaryen family. It unfolds in the book Fire and Blood, as well as in the HBO series House of the Dragon. King Viserys I named his daughter Rhaenyra heir to the Iron Throne. She was his only offspring at the time, the first ever female heir to the Iron Throne. This created problems in a medieval society, especially after more royal children were born, including Aegon, second of his name. Viserys' death eventually triggered the civil war between the Blacks, supporting Rhaenyra, and the Greens, supporting Aegon II. The anarchy was a war of succession in medieval England in the 12th century. King Henry I made it clear that his daughter Matilda should inherit the throne. However, with the support of the English aristocracy and the Church, Henry's nephew, Stephen of Blois, crowned himself king, leading to civil war. Daemon I was nicknamed the Young Dragon. He was only 14 when his father died, so he was crowned as a teenager. Daemon made the conquest of Dorne his primary objective. He managed to defeat the Dornish in every battle, although he lost 10,000 men in the conquest and another 40 to 50,000 trying to hold it. Daemon was betrayed and killed by the Dornish at just 18, while carrying a banner of peace. George R.R. Martin has said that Daemon was inspired by Alexander the Great, the young king who set out to conquer foreign lands and died young. There were speculations about both men's sexuality, as Daemon was unmarried and Alexander was most likely bisexual. According to some of Martin's co-writers, Charles XII of Sweden also inspired Daemon's characterization as an unmarried king. Baelor the Blessed was certainly the most pious king Westeros has ever seen. Known for his fasting and sexual restraint, this Targaryen king can be beautifully paralleled with Edward the Confessor, who was later canonized as a saint. Both rulers died childless, leaving the door wide open for future conflicts. Speaking of future conflicts, illegitimate children play a major role in George R.R. Martin's novels. Aegon IV was called the Unworthy. As a young man, he was handsome and skilled in combat, but he became a corrupt, extremely obese king who brought his house to the brink of collapse. The Unworthy publicly recognized his son Daemon, knighted him, and even gave him the family sword Blackfire, once wielded by Aegon the Conqueror. On his deathbed, Aegon legitimized all his countless other bastards, leading to a succession crisis. Daemon took the name Blackfyre and claimed the throne, while the legitimate heir, Daemon II, sought to secure his birthright. This conflict became known as the First Blackfire Rebellion. 4 more would follow. Since the Dance of the Dragons resembles both the anarchy and the Wars of the Roses, the Blackfire Rebellions echo the Jacobite uprisings. Both involved succession disputes. During the Jacobite uprisings, supporters of the Stuart monarchy tried to restore the Stuarts to the British throne, viewing them as the rightful rulers. After suffering early defeats, both the Stuart claimants and the Blackfire pretenders went into exile and sought support from foreign powers. The Stuarts were welcomed in France and other European nations, while the Blackfires fled to the free cities, plotting their return to power. The last of the Targaryen kings was Aerys II, also known as the Mad King, a clear parallel to Charles VI of France, nicknamed Charles the Mad. Charles ruled during the 100 Years' War and was one of the strangest monarchs of the Middle Ages. Once a promising young ruler known as the Beloved, he became mentally unstable, obsessed with alchemy and the occult. Charles had wild personality swings, though to be fair, unlike Aerys, he never showed real cruelty. At one point he believed he was made of glass and could shatter if touched. He wore reinforced clothing and avoided all human contact. His insecure reign led to the Armagnac-Burgundian Civil War, further weakening France, which was already half occupied by the English. Any Game of Thrones fan can see the similarities. The last Targaryen on this list is none other than Rhaegar Targaryen, son of the Mad King. His black armor, youth, and valor in battle can be compared to the Black Prince, son of Edward III, who distinguished himself during the 100 Years' War. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please remember to like and subscribe. Also, comment if you'd like to see more historical comparisons in fantasy series.